Typically, in a manga, comic, or light novel, hero characters are focused on the most, as the characters who drive the story and make the right and proper choices in order to save the day. But what happens when the hero character is not necessarily a hero? Maybe sometimes these characters need to make the difficult choices in order to protect the people around them, even if by making those choices they become someone feared or hated by the other characters around them. This is what it means to be an anti-hero character, and in today's video I want to talk about how you can create your own anti-hero characters either just for fun or your manga, comic, or light novel. Before we get fully into this video, let's first discuss what an anti-hero character actually is. The best way to understand who an anti-hero character is to first look at the hero character stereotype. Now, the hero character stereotype is someone who will save the day and make the good decisions, decisions that affect the people around them in a positive way. But then there's the anti-hero, and the anti-hero is someone who is still the hero of their story, but they're also a character who will make the difficult choices when it matters the most. They're not the character who will make the good and best decisions just because it might be what the other characters around them want them to decide on. They're the characters who will make the difficult choices if it means maybe protecting the town or maybe protecting the people around them, even if it means that other characters might hate them for it. When creating an anti-hero, it's important to understand that they are still a hero character, but they may not always make the morally good choice. They should want to help people or do good for the world, or at the very least protect the people close to them. But in order to do that, maybe they make the decisions that the other characters don't want to make. The most important distinction is that they make the right choice, whether or not that is an actual good choice to make. Even with this desire, an anti-hero character is not the type of character who seeks praise or notice for the decisions they make, and instead their actions or the times they do a good deed, they usually go unnoticed. So when you have a stereotypical hero character, usually they'll do a really good deed or they'll make a good choice and people will notice them for the hero they are. But anti-hero characters can go more unnoticed because an anti-hero character doesn't seek the praise, and instead they may make these difficult decisions which people may hate them for, even if the decision will end up making things a lot better for the people around them. In order to create a good anti-hero character, it's also important to understand that within an anti-hero character, there's also a kind of darkness within them. The anti-hero character isn't blind to the darkness in the world. An anti-hero character is someone who sees all these bad things in the world, which is why they make these difficult decisions in a story. So it's important to really consider this when you're creating your own anti-hero characters. It's important to think about how they manage to first see this darkness in the world and how this really affects who they are in the current moments of the story. Usually this darkness comes from their backstory or their past experiences, so they may have experienced some difficult moments that really made them see the world in a darker light, and this really shapes the way that they make decisions and take action in the story. From what they've experienced in their backstory or past experiences, they may also develop their main goal in the story, and this goal needs to be so strong that it really drives them throughout their story. What really keeps an anti-hero character going throughout a story, even if they've gone through difficult experiences or even if they hate the world or the people around them, what keeps them going is their goal. Now, in this part, I want to talk about the differences between a villain and an anti-hero. A villain and an anti-hero will both have very strong goals. This is something that is shared in common with these character types. However, when a villain has an extremely strong goal, their goal will be rooted in a morally bad decision. So their goal will be something morally bad, which may end up leading to something bad for the people and for the world around this villain character. But the difference is that an anti-hero may have more of a morally good goal, even if the other characters may not be able to see it. For example, they may want to save or rescue someone who is close to them, but maybe in order to do that, they have to do something bad in exchange. In another example, maybe your anti-hero character wants to do something good and save the entire world, but in order to save the world, maybe they have to become more like a villain themselves. The reason why the anti-hero's goal needs to be something so important is that this goal needs to force them throughout the story. This goal needs to be something so important that it makes them make the difficult choices in the story, and while the other characters may not understand why they do this, they know that they have to reach their goal no matter what. As your anti-hero character pursues the goal over the story, with other characters possibly looking down on them or misjudging them for their goals, the anti-hero character becomes someone who is more hardened over the story. They become someone who is more stoic in nature, someone who does not easily reveal their emotions on the surface. This is when the anti-hero character begins to fully notice the darkness in the world around them, or the darkness in the people around them, and this is what truly makes them different from the hero character, where the hero character might notice the good in the world for what it is. The anti-hero character will be more likely to see the glass as if it's half empty and notice all of the bad things in the world that maybe they feel they need to fix. Anti-heroes seem unstoppable because of their determination and their approach, but they definitely aren't completely invulnerable. Anti-hero characters also experience moments of weakness, and these moments are important to show because these are the moments that make them human. So when your anti-hero character has gone through difficult moments, or they've made hard choices that have really left them feeling weak or vulnerable, it's important to show your audience those moments of weakness because this really makes them more believable and natural as characters. Along with their weakness, it's also important to give your anti-hero a main flaw. Now the flaw doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing, but it needs to be something that makes them feel more natural. For example, maybe they're the kind of character who rushes into a battle or a bad situation without fully thinking it through first. They may see someone who is in trouble and they rush in to help them. But sometimes this may leave them in a difficult situation that they can't easily get out of. In another example, maybe your character is too trusting and they end up easily trusting the people around them, even though they might be someone who might be misleading them. Or maybe your anti-hero character lets their anger control them when they get angry, and they make really rushed decisions if they let their emotions get the better of them. Consider with your anti-hero character what types of flaw or character quality that you could give them that makes them feel more natural and believable as characters. I mentioned earlier how important it is for an anti-hero to make the difficult choices, and this is really who the anti-hero character is. They are the character who will make the choices that no one else will make. In order to really express this in your story or just within your character, one thing I really like to do when I'm creating anti-hero characters is force them into making a difficult decision. And the way to do this with your character is to give them a choice between two equally bad things and force them to make a decision. This can be especially helpful when you reach moments in the story where you're getting up to a point of high drama. Maybe there's a battle or maybe there's a bad situation coming up. And then when you put your anti-hero character into this situation, it makes the scene look a lot more dire. For a stereotypical hero character, the hero character might look at the two equally bad choices and instead try and find the choice that maybe would work out better for the characters around them. What if there are truly two equally bad decisions and there's no other possible decisions that the characters could make? In these kinds of instances, the anti-hero character would struggle over these choices and they would still try and make the right decision. So force your characters to make the bad decisions, and this will make them a lot more powerful as anti-hero characters because they're the one who has the courage and determination to make these choices, even though it's a difficult decision and even though it might lead to a bad situation. They still know that a decision needs to be made, and this is when these types of characters step into action and really drive the story, making your story overall more interesting and compelling. After your character has made these decisions, possibly throughout the story or through these more intense moments in your story, it's also important to make your audience sympathize with these characters. Show all of the difficult moments your anti-hero had to experience to get where they are today. This is why backstories are also really important for an anti-hero character. An anti-hero character's life isn't always easy. They've likely had to go through many difficult situations, which hardened them towards the world and made them see the darkness in the world. And this is why your audience can sympathize with these characters more. Your anti-hero character had to go through some really hard situations to get where they are today, but this is what makes them all the more powerful in your story. This is why when your anti-hero character does get to a moment when they can be happier, when they can smile again, it makes your audience feel really happy for your character as well. Because after all of the intense moments and the difficult moments your anti-hero had to go through, they, more than any other character in your book, deserves to be happy by the end of your story. Thank you so much for watching my video today, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing day, and I hope you create some amazing anti-hero characters. I will see you in the next video. Bye!